This week on Hermitcraft.
That's way too low. Hi, dragon.
Welcome to the Hermitcraft Recap. My name is Pixelriffs, our writer is ZloyXP, and seeing as how this is an entirely new season and we've picked up a few new viewers, let us quickly reintroduce ourselves. Hermitcraft Recap is a show run by two fans of Hermitcraft and is not in the slightest affiliated with the server or its brand. We don't have any insider info beyond the things the Hermits post on Twitter, we don't get to see episodes ahead of time, we're just two guys who recount all the events that happened on the Hermitcraft server in a humorous review-like fashion. And we take notes Friday to Friday, which means that, for example, yesterday's Grian video will be covered next week since it was uploaded on Saturday. We also don't cover live streams because we simply don't have the time to go through hours upon hours of footage, with rare exceptions, but more on that later. Finally, both of us have our own Minecraft YouTube channels that you can check out right now in the iCards.
And I can't grow a beard for the life of me. I decided to bring an entire beard of his own, Pixelriffs.
I am basically just a giant beard to you. That's how this thing works. And with all that out of the way, let's take a look at all the events and mishaps that occurred on the Hermitcraft server this week. Starting with Jessassin. Wait, what? Having not been seen on a Hermitcraft vanilla server since Season 4, but having dipped into Project Ozone Light with the Hermit Skies crowd, Jessassin has made a return to vanilla for Season 6, and is promptly very surprised with how much Minecraft has grown while he was away.
What is this game? And there's dolphins? Like, what game is this?
Someone should also probably give him a briefing on Good Times with Scar's crazy build skills.
Are you kidding? How? What the heck? It's like day 2.
He's got a lot to learn about 1.13, but so far he's taken it steady, claiming his own remote island where he can become reacquainted with the game, building a crop farm, doing some mining, and setting up a boat dock. So we think he'll be fine once he comes to terms with the fact that chests don't have to be in a relationship.
What the hell is happening?
We also saw the return of XB Crafted, although he is planning on keeping his relationship with the server a little casual by streaming his Hermitcraft 6 activity instead of making regular YouTube episodes. As we said in the intro, that's a lot of material for us to look through, so we might not be able to cover XB in as much detail as the other Hermits here. But we do have a Discord channel where people from XB's community could submit links to clips from his stream VODs if anything significant happens. The link to join that is in the description. And in the meantime, if you want to catch XB doing his thing on the Hermitcraft 6 server, drop him a follow on Twitch and catch the VODs as they appear on his YouTube channel. What we do know is he's setting up in the Modern District, so he'll probably be seeing a lot of Python, because if the amount of collabs he's done is anything to go by, everyone will be seeing a lot of Python. It may be because he built a nice welcoming suburban house on day 1, but he's become something of a social butterfly. And that's more accurate than you'd think, because he even got his wings this week after raiding the End with Azuma and Ijevin. He's even started a neighborhood watch program, although that mostly involves putting the valuable villagers in holes underground where he can keep an eye on them. The one villager he decides to move in with him has an infinity book trade, so presumably he killed half the population of the village in the name of balance.
I'd very much like to go ahead and get that guy in the house in his own little pen. I think that'd be a really, really cool idea.
But he's fine sharing the magic around, as he teams up with Wales Knight earlier in the week to build the community enchanting house, sets up a shulker box shop to trade away those extra shells, and happily lets Zedaf move in with him, as long as he doesn't mind the cows.
Was living in a hole before this, so... Oh no, I thought we could try the Kixies. Never mind. We got plenty of nights to Kixie, so...
To work off his share of the rent, Zed prepares to open a shop of his own in the commercial district, the Quartz, Warts and Shorts shop, providing the community with all-time valuable plants, pants, and silicon oxygen tetrahedra.
Now you may be thinking that I chose to sell these items purely because the names of them all rhyme, and you would be completely and utterly right.
Impulse SV also stakes a claim to the shopping district and makes a serious power play, because his shop, iTrade, is a villager trading hall full of librarians, including one who trades mending for a mere 10 emeralds.
I was a little worried that I would log out, log back in, and he would have, like, been caught in the wall and suffocated because he's that important.
At first, it's open for free, but Impulse ultimately decides to sell a season pass to his server mates, allowing them to access the store for the duration of Season 6. So, DLC is included, but he's going to make a lot of money from loot boxes, because he's also planning to sell tradable items within the store itself. So if you've got money on who's going to be the richest server member, you might as well give it to Impulse now. The competition is thriving though, since many hermits have decided to capitalize on not yet familiar mechanics and items that people might consider essential for the Aquatic update. A prime example of that is Azuma's Turtle Hat Shop, made possible thanks to his newfound affiliation with the flappy sea creatures. Having figured out how to farm the sea turtles and their precious scoot, and even finding out that the turtle eggs can be silk-touched for further replanting at a more convenient beach, X starts construction on a giant turtle with his face for a face, later to house his exquisite, water-breathing hat shop.
We really do have a long way to go here, and I'm reminded of how slow digging is in the early game without a beacon.
Unable to consume seaweed to be more like his people, X settles for a kelp diet, complemented by a big auto-smelter, auto-smelting kelp and kelp only. More Aquatic update shenanigans ensue when he is attacked by the Night Phantoms, and finally, for the big guns, X gathers enough materials for a full conduit. That, of course, requires some prismarine, and what better way to get it than paying a visit to a bugged-out ocean monument? It's 2 for the price of 1.
There's 2 of them here. What? Oh, that must be like a 1.13 glitch. There's some sort of bulge here on the side. Well, if we look out this way, that's also the front. As you can see, this one's got 2 entrances.
Cubfan's contribution to the economy is quite similar. He'll be selling coral blocks in a fittingly titled Hello Coral shop. Insert Walking Dead memes here. It too is conduit powered, much to the amazement of the early visitors who find themselves undrownable in the very submerged interior of the shop.
I want to live in a coral reef too. Look at how beautiful it is in here.
Bubbles! Plus, his modern style house is pretty neat. But Cub's rise to riches starts not with the digging of coral blocks, in fact, not with digging of any kind at all, but with diving for sunken ships.
Yeah, these guys should lead us right to the treasure, so let's just hop on down here. Oh, well, wow, what a help this guy was. Never would have done it without him.
It turns out the watery graves of some sailors have more than enough to get a guy started with his Season 6. The time saved on strip mining can be reused for even more treasure hunting and exploration, which is exactly where we get reunited with an absolutely unremarkable parrot.
And there's a pit. Oh my god, no way! What? No, yes! Yes!
Yay!
For inexplicable reasons, this encounter seemingly helps Cub catch a second wind, and he sets out to conquest. And so, together with Scar, they murder a dragon for his elytra, not the dragon, mind you, that honor was reserved for Tango Tech.
Yeah, I came in that last second, got like one tiny little swipe, and I'm like, I helped.
Raid some end cities, and later Cub and Python link up the stronghold with a nether portal to provide Cub with a nicer walk to his new ragtag Enderman farm.
Fingers crossed.
Here we go. Come on, man. This should be the one. Oh.
Oh, we're in a dungeon. What? Oh.
What the heck?
Oh my god. How? This is insane.
And yes, the original dragon was earlier killed by none other than Tango Tech, as promised in his second episode of the series. The firstborn elytra sadly is lost to the item despawn timer as the dragon egg pushes it into the end portal and no one picks it up in time at spawn. Last but not least, Jevin starts a shop of his own, one to do with his bizarre ability to find shiny things. On top of the loot acquired from the outer end raid with Python and Azuma, Jevin has also been hunting his share of buried treasures and sunken ships. Sadly, all the aforementioned treasures turned out to be bugged, with multiple maps all leading to the same empty chest. Frustrated with this, Jevin takes matters into his own hands and creates a shop to substitute the faulty in-game mechanics. Now, for the low price of 10 diamonds, you can purchase a custom-made treasure map with a fancy banner waypoint leading to a chest full of goodies from your favorite blue slime. It's not even a scam either, as the treasures include shulker shells and many other rare items. He can obviously afford to run such a business, seeing how by this point his house has automated farms for all the basics, and even a high-tech cooker, a personal enchantment station, and a piston door leading to all of this.
I'm so excited, guys. I'm so happy, and not only that, just like the amount of support you guys have shown on the videos. Holy crap. It makes me want to work even harder for you guys.
Rendog, meanwhile, plans to make high-tech cooking into his business, capitalizing on the hermit's need for some easy early-game food. After remodeling the Wren hole into an auto chicken cooker and then asking Iskall to troubleshoot his redstone, he announces the Stacks for Stacks chicken shop, where hermits can buy cooked chicken not with diamonds or emeralds, but with gold, iron, and other materials. The proceeds will actually be reinvested in the community, as Wren's overall plan for the season is to set up a hermit rail network connecting the island, with a station at every compass point. He does acknowledge that elytra travel has outpaced the good old-fashioned minecart, but it's more for immersion and for options than it is for practicality and efficiency.
The elytra killed the railway star, so to speak, but I've always loved railway lines in Minecraft.
In a classic Rendog move, he ends up building the chicken shop near the community enchanting house to make sure people will walk past it regularly, but realizes he's in the wrong district. The shopping district is a few hundred blocks to the north, and where he's building is strictly medieval. But he quickly course corrects and transforms it into the Stacks for Stacks Tavern, with the grand opening happening this weekend. But the first community service is rightfully Wells Knight's, and Python's by extension, since he's the one who's been fetching the logs for it. The community enchantment house is visible in half of the day one videos and recognized universally as a Wells build if ever I saw one. A cliche Wells Knight later addresses with his other first proper build of the season, and that's his third first build if anyone's counting, a factory located on a cliff in the industrial district. What exactly it is fabricating outside of the busy presence for now remains unseen. We're also not sure exactly who Webco is.
Pro tip: don't make your first large build in a Minecraft world out of brick. I need like 16 stacks of brick for this. So annoying to get.
Instead of clearing any of it out, Wells just goes for raising the real estate value with a fancy bridge leading to it and a medieval parking lot, also known as a horse stables. But before we get too far away from the enchantment house, let's talk about its true identity.
Right? Isn't he there? He's there, right?
Iskall's out of control.
Yes, Iskall saw the side of a house and, desperate to see a familiar face in this new world, he brought out the Bumbo. If you thought Bumbo was staying in Season 5, you were mistaken. But Wells Knight and Python aren't going to take this lying down, and have already sworn retribution.
This is why I always carry with me my my mustache blocks.
It's not even the first time Iskall has seen the face of Bumbo in Season 6, as a few of the icebergs in his snowy home have even started to look like faces. Maybe he just needs to go to the next berg over and visit Stress Monster more often, but you can't have a housewarming party without first having a warm house. And in Iskall's case, this means acacia and stone floors with a little dead coral mixed in for effect, and a bubble column elevator linked up to a block swapper so he can get up and down his iceberg with ease. And despite the place being a frozen ocean, he finds snow a little tricky to farm at first.
Oh, of course. But of course. Okay. Yeah, I messed up. It needs to be like this, otherwise...
Stress Monster has a slightly better time setting up a tree farm and promptly carves herself down to mining level to pick up her first diamonds. From there, she hollows out her iceberg into a cozy house with a stairwell, a storage room, and lots of room for expansion. She also admits that we'll be seeing a little bit less of her over the next few weeks, as school is out for the summer, so she'll be spending more time with her daughter and less with the polar bears.
Yeah, that is kind of cute. That can do for now.
Surprisingly, the pirate faction not confined to the isolated Arctic wasteland has less trouble seeing faces in objects. Arguably. Unless there's something they're not telling us. If anything, Good Times with Scar has had a tad too much contact with other people, considering that they keep throwing pitchforks at him.
Avast, you scurvy scum, we're under attack. Oh my gosh, this guy is just pummeling me from underwater there.
Perhaps it's this type of experience that causes Scar to section off his cave house from the rest of the world with a submerged section that you have to swim through. Heck, even to get to the pirate island through the nether, you'll still have to row or flap, since the portal is located on its own smaller island, terraformed with black concrete to substitute for cursed soil. In a slightly less sinister endeavour, Scar digs out a zombie spawner and adopts it as his own, now using it for experience and enchanting purposes.
One thing I would have loved to have done is get some green grass built around these edges, but unfortunately we don't have those kind of tools.
Not too far away, Zombie Cleo is still working on the biggest vessel of the server, for now anyway. Named Juggernaut, this beauty of a ship could really benefit from more wood types, and it does once Cleo sails away to find dark oak, spruce, and even some jungle, taming a parrot on her way back and thus sufficiently earning pirate status. And speaking of sails, the sails are now a thing. Multicolored for a more horrifying effect, and folded for now since she didn't have enough wool, I mean, because she's harboured.
And that's still coming. There's still cannons to put in, there's still like trapdoors and stuff to put in. Well, it's going to be fun, to be honest, to do it.
But taking off from that place might still be a good idea, because one of the nearest neighbours of the undead turns out to be False Symmetry. Tired of living essentially in a bunker, False decorates her cliff of the fantasy district with a beautiful tower with a rotunda on top. This being False Symmetry, the rotunda also doubles as a pretty good vantage point in case she ever gets a cannon, and guess whose ship the tower is overlooking?
Yeah, you know what, I think we got it. We might round these corners another time, because they are bugging me. Every time I look at it, I'm like, dude, those corners are too pointy. But, well, that's a bad thing. I mean, we can have pointy corners.
Now False is out of the bunker, TFC has a little less competition in that department. His Fallout-inspired vault gets its own crop farm this week, although he ran into a few of Minecraft's very own rad roaches digging the place out. After getting some half-decent enchants from the community bookshelves and getting into a spitting contest with the local llamas, he digs a kind of tradesman's entrance to the vault in anticipation of finding some cows to lead down there. He acknowledges that the overground entrance is also due for an overhaul, but he'll get to that in the weeks to come.
I need to tear this down, either cut into the side of a mountain or in a cave, or, as in the case of Vault 111, flat on the ground as an elevator going down.
Biffa's base in the futuristic district is also going to get a makeover soon, as he plans to turn the tall, thin mountain into a rocket ship. But first, he gets distracted by dolphins, which are keen to show him all the best ways of drowning in shipwrecks.
I'm gonna drown, let me out!
Luckily for just about everybody on this server, items float now, and once he's recovered his gear and pillaged the shipwreck, Biffa confronts the other killer of 1.13, Phantoms. Swatting them out of the sky and collecting Phantom Membrane turns out to be easier than he expected, and he even gets one of the server's first Phantom Heads. Elsewhere on the server, Doc M is engaged in similar experiments, fighting phantoms, breeding turtles, and figuring out how to AFK safely underwater. But it's when he finds a mysterious structure in the mesa that things get really interesting.
To build this would require a complete madman. This is huge.
It turns out his talk of playing more casually than everyone else was a big misdirect, and he's already spent a full day putting together a drowned farm. This magnificent contraption spawns drowned high in the air above a river biome, funnels them into unloaded nether chunks to make them easy to kill, and all the effort pays off with Doc getting one of the only Tridents on the server so far.
Nice.
His one mistake was building so high in the sky and then inviting Iskall over to check out the view.
I don't know why. What the... No, dude! I farmed levels forever. Don't. You son of a...
Joe Hills' nomadic life has led to some less successful encounters with Minecraft's newer mobs, but he's settled on a couple of projects to keep himself occupied. The first is a strange tribute to the Ministry of Truth from the novel 1984, where Joe suggests people could leave their social media details, presumably so Big Brother can watch their live streams too. The addition of lava pits might work for the literary reference, but the first thing Joe burns is the memory of all the items he was carrying. Taking a break from that, he establishes a nether path to the mining mesa and decides to decorate the portal like a beanstalk, with a bubble column of water rising up the center. And perhaps his most valuable contribution this week is to rate all three of the server's active skeleton farms by Ijevin, Wells Knight, and Azuma. We're not certain about the ranking system he's using, but I think it's safe to say he likes them?
It's hard to say whose farm is really the best. I think that I would personally find myself using Ijevon's farm the most.
And finally, there's Grumbo. Mian. One or the other. It's not that we have trouble distinguishing them from one another, it's just that their bases at this point are becoming one and the same. You see, this week Grian manages to accidentally dig into somebody else's mineshaft, and after just a bit of wandering around, it turns out that that leads directly into Mumbo's treehouse. Shortly after, Mumbo finds his base flooded by chickens, and Grian making a hasty escape via the access ladder. One can understand Grian's attempts to get out of his own base, seeing as how it is pretty cramped, especially now that he added a cow and chicken farm into the mix. Thankfully, later in the week it is expanded, and with a pretty clever idea at that. The shipwreck is now encased in a giant bottle, dry and secure on the inside. By this point, building underwater is not as much of a challenge, now that Grian has spent several hours breeding turtles and got himself a shiny new turtle helmet. Comments argued that a full conduit wouldn't hurt either, but baby steps, guys.
The mixture of the glass has been bad, so I'm gonna have to get some proper dye farm going, but I just want to get something. I want to get a base rolling because I need more space to do stuff.
When Mumbo isn't de-chickening his base, he's rigging up a zombie spawner and setting up an AFK fish farm. He also gets a guided tour of Doc's drowned farm, although once again Iskall decides it's an excuse to push someone to their doom.
The heck have you been building, man?
Yeah, what the
crap, Doc, you're crazy.
Trident or so.
Alright, that sounds good to me. Where have you just gone? Because I don't want to just launch myself off the side.
Don't die now.
No, wait, hang on. No, this does not... You... You're a terrible person! Oh my word, I think I might have just...
Yes, you made it! Oh man.
I'm a professional Minecraft player, unlike some.
We also get to briefly witness his reaction to Bombo Enchantoni.
I think this is one of those things that Iskall just saw the building and seized the opportunity. And he couldn't help himself.
Before he heads back to his base to carve out the server's first slime farm, using a single slime chunk underwater near his base. The man needs his sticky pistons after all. But awesome as an underwater slime farm could be in theory, in practice it becomes a little tricky to handle, both because he has to fill the ceiling with glass so it has skylight coming through, and because the dolphins decide it's a good idea to play on magma blocks. And that's just about it for week 1 of Hermitcraft Season 6. Our writer is ZloyXP, and my name is Pixel Riffs. If you fancy checking out our personal channels, here's a link to Zloy's video where you can help him decide whether to attack my base or someone else's. There's a poll and everything. Be kind, guys. Don't forget to leave a like while you're still here, and subscribe so you won't miss future recaps. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.